Hi! It finally happened. We got out on a trip in this thing. It was used as it's intended. This past weekend, weather was clear and we were able to get out. We took the van north for a little trip, a little camping trip and canoe trip. We made our way up to Noosa Heads, where we stayed at a really fancy caravan park for the first night, called Habitat Noosa, and then rented a canoe for a couple days and a night, and took it up the Noosa Everglades up to Harry's Hut and actually beyond. Had a lot of fun, did a lot of paddling, particularly on the first day. I think we did close to about 6 hours of paddling and probably I'm not sure, I'll have to do the math on how many kilometers, at least 10, probably closer to 14 on that first day. And then ran into some friends back at the caravan park and had a nice campfire before heading back. So while I did get a little bit done on the van in preparation for this weekend, I figured it'd be more exciting, more fun to show what I did on the weekend instead of what I did up to it, and just go over that. But before that, also I figured might as well give you a little bit of a preview of what the van looked like while we were using it. That being said, it will be a preview without the mattress in here because we put it back. So this is the van in its current state. Electricity is on. We have a working fridge. The stove is not on. We don't have gas yet, but it's in its place. Counters are somewhat in their place. Looking good. Our toilet's there, although we didn't need to use it on this trip. You can see parts of the working part for the shower are getting ready, but not quite there yet. Part of the bench is in place. And then all of this is nothing new, except for it's clean, because we wanted to be able to use it. Bed in full bed form, complete with little clasps to hold the end on. Also, dance party lights. It's too bright. Too bright outside, can't see him, we can show him here. Woo, dance party! Alright, silliness. Ooh, working fan, what? So fancy. One here too. got going Thursday night after work. We each took a turn driving the big honking beast, but it actually drives pretty smoothly, pretty easily, even on bumpy roads like this. The paddle was gorgeous. As I showed earlier in the video, a lot longer than initially planned. The original plan was just to go to Harry's Hut, which is still about a 12-ish kilometer paddle. It starts off across some big open water and a big nice lake, and then cuts into these Everglades for the second half. On some advice from one of the tour guides that we ran into along the water, we ended up paddling quite a bit extra up to campsite 3 with the assumption that it would be empty, and it was not. So we ended up having to paddle all the way back after that, and putting in a little bit of a marathon paddle on that first day. But how can you complain when it looks like this? Apparently known as the River of Mirrors, and you can tell why. Water was so flat for the most part, nice and protected by these big paperback trees on either side, as well as a bunch of other wildlife. Apparently, Noosa Everglades, one of only 2 Everglades systems like this in the world, so pretty neat to get a chance to paddle it. It's also the only Everglades system that you can swim in, because it's far enough south that there are no alligators, no gators to be nibbling on you. So water was super, super dark with tannins from the tea trees all around us. Probably really healthy for us. After our trek up to campsite 3, we ended up coming back down to Harry's Hut, our initial spot, which was fine, even though it's the biggest of the campsites. You can see it was pretty empty, not really a whole lot of folks here for a Friday night, so we had most of the place to ourselves. Harry's Hut was an old logman's cabin for some of the loggers up in this area, built quite a ways back, and then bought by a pharmacist, Harry, Harry Spring, I think, and used until quite recently, up until 1999. So this is probably Harry right there. And when Harry passed away, the lease for the land went back to the park. And so they put a little bit of protection around some of the remaining buildings and turned it into a pretty popular spot for tours and paddlers like myself. We got super lucky as we were paddling, or right before we were paddling, we looked up some of the astrological happenings that were going to be going on, and just turns out that there was going to be a partial lunar eclipse, and so I was able to get a few shots of that through the evening, which is super cool. And of course, it's not a paddling trip without some animals. So saw some pelicans, these two guys, some iguanas. This one was very curious about my plum.
They're coming in. Get out of here. Oh.
An attack on all sides.
Snake. Of course, a snake or two. This one we think is a python. And got to play some disc golf with a bunch of kangaroos, which was a first. Yeah, so overall, really pleased with the work so far. It looked good, it felt good. All the mistakes that I see as I'm building it, as they're right in front of my face, kind of disappeared when I was using it, which was a good feeling. Didn't have to worry about that as much. Not that I was horribly worried about it anyways. But it was nice that you could kind of look up at those gaping holes or big cracks, as I feel they look like when I'm working on them, and go, oh, you can actually barely see it if I'm laying on the bed. So yeah, really pleased with it so far, but not ready to go yet. Lots of work to do. So working quite heavily on getting the plumbing and water running this week, so hoping to have that done this week and show you everything to do with that. I got a water heater to install, I got a sink to install, I got a water pump and water filter to install, I have the tanks to install underneath the van, lots to do, and then everything plumbing all together. So that will be a new and fun experience for me. Hopefully not too complicated, but we'll see. And I should have that video up for you next week. Also, sorry, I know it's a day late. I could say I was recovering from the weekend, but I just actually forgot. I didn't have enough time to get it done on Monday to get it out, so sorry, but it's here now.